Taking inspiration from Karku's videos, I decided to ask my Discord to send me their hot takes, so I can make them in Overwatch, and some are truly hot takes, some are obvious jokes, and some I'd actually want to see in the game. Anyways, before we continue, tell me what video you guys would like to see, since I've been getting good suggestions, but not enough that I actually want to do them, so I'm still open to ideas. The first change, suggested by Daddy Ross, was to buff Lucio's boop. Therefore, I very slightly buffed the boop, but all jokes aside, I'd be fine with a small Lucio buff. It might mess up boop combos, but it'd be fun to be able to boop tanks off the map again. Maybe Blizzard can increase the boop cooldown a little bit, but make it launch people way farther. Next from X-Men is to remove Mercy's damage boost. So I did. I think I like the idea of having Mercy's damage boost on a resource like Mora's healing. However, we would then need to buff Mercy in another way to compensate. I don't have a strong opinion on Mercy, so tell me what you think. And I should have mentioned this with Lucio. I'd probably just keep Lucio the same. Although it is kind of depressing, you can't just boop tanks off the map. Next up, we got a hot take to basically nerf Sombra into the ground. They want Sombra to have no invisibility or a very long cooldown. Heck, they'd be fine with removing her from the game entirely. On top of that, buff aura, but reducing healing while flying. I decided to keep Sombra in the game, but every 5 seconds, a heat detector reveals Sombra, which kicks her out of Invis. I really don't like Infinite Invis Sombra, and even though I enjoy playing the new Sombra, I hate going against it. I probably wouldn't change Sombra too much, since so many people like her, but also, I personally would make it so it's like the Spy from TF2, where you can get shot in Invis, but it won't knock you out of it. However, it's on a timer and a cooldown. However, I doubt they're going to give up the infinite stealth idea of Sombra. As for Pharah, I like the idea of replacing 50 or 75 health with armor, while making it so she only receives half healing while flying. It would buff Pharah, but nerf Pharmacy. I don't know if this would be too strong because even half healing is really good, but that is why it's a hot take. Next up, Genji should be nerfed. A normal person would assume that this guy meant nerf due to the Overwatch meme that Genji gets nerfed a lot. However, nerfed is defined as brace oneself mentally or to face a demanding situation, and Genji players every day have to wake up and brace themselves mentally. Therefore, when you emote, you will brace yourself to incoming damage, but you can no longer double jump or jump in general during the next 4 seconds. I am not actually sure if this is helpful or not, because I died a lot while trying it, but hey, you can brace yourself mentally, I guess. Hot take, Widow and Hanzo should keep their one-shot. Even though I don't really enjoy playing against a good Widow or Hanzo, their hero would get destroyed without a one-shot, so I kept it. I even made it so Widow can one-shot tanks again. Next up, all deployable turrets need some sort of nerf. I don't have a strong opinion on turrets, so the only thing I would change to Alari's turret is that she cannot replace it while it is being shot at. But since you can't do that with the workshop since you can't really detect it, I just made it so when she heals someone with the turret, she cannot destroy it or replace it during that time, and if she does destroy it, it puts it on a cooldown. This is so it's closer in line with Torbjorn's turret, and it also makes it so you can't just distract the enemy with a healing turret then replace it again. I don't know, I just always found it weird how she can replace it even if it's getting shot at. However, moving on to Torbjorn's turret, I just increased the cooldown by a very tiny bit because I don't have any interesting ideas for it. And as for Symmetra, she will just randomly yeet a turret every 20 seconds. Why? I don't know. At the time, I wasn't sure how to detect turrets, and now I kind of have an idea on how I would do it. So in the future, I'll try something more interesting. But for now, this is all I did because I mostly wanted to do this hot take for the Iari turret, because my hot take about Iari is that it's kind of dumb so you can replace her turret while it's getting shot at. Next, Hammond gets Widow one-shot when slamming on you with Pile Driver. I just doubled the damage so it would one-shot now. So if you directly land on someone, they're dead. This is probably a joke hot take, but it's funny to do. Actually, I think most of these are kind of joke hot takes, but still. Hot take, Lifeweaver is the best support in the game and should have heal burst instead of long-range flowers. I don't agree with this, but I did it anyways. I made it so the healing petals do half, but an aura of healing will consistently burst out of Lifeweaver like a tree. This will give Lifeweaver the opportunity to shoot more often probably. I don't know what to change about Lifeweaver, so probably wouldn't add this. But it's kind of funny, it's like a mini tree. Hot take, I don't think 5v5 is bad as long as they have 2 tanks, 1 TPS, and 2 supports. Let's not do that. But I did make it so you can have 2 tanks if you want. Hot take, Sombra should always be in invisibility because she has no reason to go out of it. It is kind of weird how she has to come out of stealth to shoot people, so I made it so when you press interact, you shoot. This also means I had to override the Sombra heat section, but you can always turn it back on if you would like. I personally think Sombra shouldn't be able to do anything in stealth, so I didn't bother with the square or hack since it would just be too annoying to play in the game mode. But you can still shoot an invis, so go wild. I don't really talk about Sombra too much anymore because at the time I talked about it a lot, and my opinion doesn't really matter. But if I was to change Sombra, I'd make it so her stealth was a lot stronger and she couldn't get shot out of it. However, it's on a cooldown and you can only be in stealth for like 5 seconds like old Sombra. But that is why it's a hot take. Maybe I'll do a whole video talking about my hot takes and how I would do them. That's actually a cool idea. Maybe I'll do that later. Next up, in Nemesis form, Ramattra should have a different ability rather than Vortex. I think Vortex works really well with Ramattra's Nemesis form, but it'd be cool if it got a change. Therefore, I remade an idea I did a long time ago where you can Batista bomb someone. If you land on someone with it, it does damage, and if you're close enough, you grab them and do the damage that way. I wouldn't mind a Ramattra Batista bomb. Mercy is stupid and should instantly die anytime she uses any ability. What is with the Mercy hate today? Anyways, if Mercy tries to res or fly, she instantly dies. Now you can only heal bot and pistol, I guess. Next up is holy crap. Am I gonna read that? I remade Discord Orb since you can't adjust the Discord downtime. I also put his health to 201 hit points as a small nerf. There's actually a bit more in there, but I didn't add it just because it's a bit much. But I do actually agree. I actually think that Zenyatta should get a small rework. I really don't like the idea that you can't move your Discord Orb, but I really do think that Discord Orb just placing it on the tank and them losing 25% of their health is kind of stupid. Maybe instead of it being a 25% damage increase, maybe they could make it so 50 of your health turn gray or something, and if you go down to that threshold, you die. But then when the Discord is moved off of you, you gain your 50 health back. Hopefully that makes sense. It would make it so you could prioritize smaller health point characters rather than the larger tanks. Hot take, Lucio should have more movement. I sadly don't have a good idea off the top of my head, so I made it so he can naturally double jump. And I even used the natural Overwatch code for double jumping. There's only one issue. It doesn't work, because of course it doesn't. I'm on my Joker arc right now if you can't tell by the last few videos. So now you can infinitely double jump, and even though you can infinitely double jump, it ruins your momentum quite a bit. So I don't know if it's better, but hey, he has more movement, I guess. Can't really get knocked off the map anymore. Hot take, to make Reaper more lore accurate, he respawns where he dies. I've actually done this before and it caused some issues, so he now gets pushed away when he does die. Also, you can shoot him while he is down, but you cannot kill him until he wakes up. Reaper is such a cool concept, so I can always do interesting things with him. I just need more ideas that I can do. Bastion is fine to go against, but give him like a plus 20 second cooldown. Well, this doesn't seem very fun. I also think that Bastion is mostly fine too. I wouldn't give him a plus 20 second nerf, but don't worry Bastion players, he will get buffed soon. Cassidy's Deadeye should go through shields no matter what, just so it feels more intimidating. I would not do this one! I think shields are honestly a necessary counterplay, and we shouldn't have this inconsistency where McCree's bullet— I said McCree, god dang it! Where Cassidy's bullet goes through— it now ruins my point that I said the wrong name. I kind of think it'd be a dumb idea to add it so Cassidy's high noon bullets go through shields, simply because it would cause an inconsistency with the shield logic. So even though I think it would be too strong in the first place, and people would be very confused when it goes through it, it would also cause an inconsistency that I don't really like. However, I arguably made it worse. I made it so when he high noons, everyone on the enemy team gets hacked. That is definitely worse than their suggestion, but I don't know, I wouldn't add this in the game, so I didn't really care about the balance of it. Oh, there's another long one. Ash should have a hammer. Okay, I'll do that. Coach Gun no longer knocks back enemies, and instead summons a Reinhardt for 2 swings. It is sort of like a miniature Bob when you Coach Gun, who helps you control an area. I wouldn't want this in the actual game, but I find the idea of Ash being able to repair Bob very funny. Sadly, you can't change Bob, so I just can't add it, but still. Also, just in case you didn't have time to read it, in the comment they said that Ash should have a hammer so she can repair Bob. I think that is a very funny idea, especially because Torbjorn should be able to repair Omnix, like come on. Okay, I think Junker Queen should have a massive buff to her axe but remove her gun and knife. I decided to just remove her gun and make her axe 0 cooldown. This basically turns Queen into a lifesteal Reinhardt, and I sure hope that she doesn't get changed anymore. Hey look, another pile driver one-shot hot take. But this time he mentioned that grapple is like getting hit by a moving vehicle. Therefore, it one-shots now too. Great. Hot take, give everyone grapples. Just like that TF2 game mode, everyone can grapple. But since I messed it up, it goes into the stratosphere and can always work. Oh well, have fun with it. Hot take, Ryan should send heroes flying with his rocket hammer. That's pretty easy, I just made it so you get flown when you get hit. I am unsure if this would be a nerf or a buff, but it is definitely fun to watch people fly. Hot take, tank melee should do more damage. Again, I don't know if roles should have role passives in the first place, so I'm skeptical about adding this to the actual game. However, I doubled the damage of the melees of every tank except Reinhardt, since a 170 hammer swing just seems a bit too strong. Hot take again. Junker Queen ult should last longer. I think Queen ult is fine, but I made a custom anti since you can't set a status called anti in the workshop. What is funny about my anti is that you cannot cleanse it, so I accidentally just super buffed Junker Queen's ultimate. Hey look, a hot take I really like actually. Bastion should have his old ultimate. I don't know why they changed his ultimate in the first place, but Artillery Strike just is so much less fun than his tank configuration. Therefore, I made a cheap version of his old ultimate. It is very close to the same, but since you can't change the configuration timer, you can actually shoot some bullets after it ends since it's only 6 seconds and the ultimate used to be 8. I think the bullet is basically the same as the actual tank bullet, so if you think his configuration tank is coming back, I guess you can practice it. Oh look, another Bastion change. I sure hope it isn't overpowered. Oh, of course it is. Yeah, Bastion can one-shot any support now. Have fun. Here's a hot take I saved till the end because it was kind of difficult. And that is that Ryan should get the unstoppable effect while charging. That is not a thing in the workshop. Therefore, I must make a budget version. For this, I just made it so he's phased out, which means that you cannot do anything to Reinhardt. It's kind of like a Reaper Wraith form. However, the charge does do around 125 damage, just like Combat said. I think Maga's charge and Ryan charge should stay separate for ability diversity. So I would just keep Ryan how he is. Another hard one was this one, hot take. Omnic heroes should do less damage to Ramatra. I saved this one until the end since it is annoying to do. Damage modifications are a bit confusing to me. However, it mostly works. With that being said, Omnic related passives I think would be really cool, but I don't want to actually have them in the game since they're really hard to balance. Especially with 5 different heroes, each in different roles. So it'd be cool, but I think it would be best if every hero has a unique setting and don't overlap with other heroes. And finally, from Parsival, Blizzard should add gay sex. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but this video seems a little bit rushed. And that is because I've just been having a terrible time recently. I feel really sick. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. Check that subscribe button if you watch a lot of my videos. And if there's another small content creator you like, make sure to comment down in their videos that you really like their videos. It means a lot. Also, comment any ideas that you have because I've been seeing a lot of ideas, but they're just kind of boring for a video. So make sure whatever you comment, you'd actually want to watch. But anyways, I will see you guys later.